Well, good morning, folks. Welcome to another episode of the South Carolina Trade Talk, a podcast offering made available by the members of the South Carolina International Trade Coalition. We're very excited this morning to be having Edgar Arias, who is the marketing specialist for the South Carolina Forestry Commission. Good morning, Arias.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Thank you, Edgar. Thank you again for taking the time. Edgar, you're here today to tell us a little bit about trade data, analytics, and again, what do you do at the commission in answering maybe some of that, and I will lead to some questions.
Yes, sir. So we at the Forestry Commission, we use trade data and data analytics to help companies find markets for their products. So through trade data, where we can see where customers are located in the world, who the competition are, trade patterns, logistics. We can learn about ports, what the main ports are. We learn a little bit about logistics as well. And at the end of the day, it's about providing information for companies to learn how to expand their customers, their markets in other countries.
Well, that's great. So tell us a little bit about how a South Carolina company will look for most relevant, useful trade information. So if one had to take on the task of wanting to do business internationally, whether it be exporting, which obviously is a key element and part of the success of the state of South Carolina, but so how would one go about it?
Let's say if you want to do it yourself as a company, there are so many resources out there that you can use for free. For instance, the U.S. Census Bureau has this database called USA Trade Online. You can go there, you can go online, open an account for free, and you can run search by commodity, port, country, and for instance, you can also use, another example of a service developed by the United Nations is the UN Comtrade. It's another database that you can also access for free. And same thing, you search your product and you can find who's buying it in the world and what are the main markets, what are the main countries by month, or even at annual data is also available. All you can do it by yourself for free, and that data is out there.
That's great. So how would one go about building their own dashboard? So what would be the steps that you would take? So now you just kind of hinted to available sources of information, which is great. And I know you've done a great job at building an amazing dashboard for the forestry. Talk a little bit about some of the activities and some of the graphics and so forth. So how would one go about it?
Yes. So let's say you have already done your research, you already have your data that is useful for you and your organization, and you want to share it with other stakeholders within your company. If you have some experience using Excel, of course, that is always an option, but sharing data in Excel sometimes might not be the best way to go. Now, there are some solutions out there in the market developed by companies such as Tableau and Microsoft Power BI that allow you to create basic reports with charts, tables, data that is key for the company, and you can share that information online. The basic building blocks of building these dashboards, they work very similar to what you would do in an Excel file and a spreadsheet. It's basically the same concept. If you have someone within your company that knows a little bit of programming, that helps as well, because it means you can do more stuff, more things with your data. But the basic solutions that are out there allow you to, with a little bit of a spreadsheet knowledge, to create these reports that you can share online.
Wow, that's great. So obviously information is really only useful if it is both accurate and timely. So can you tell us a little bit about the cycle of data release and the data availability, and then and what companies engaged in international trade should be looking for and when?
Yes, for instance, the USA Trade Online, the database I use, that again is published by the U.S. Census Bureau, they have trade data, both annual data and monthly data, and that is published every single month. You get new data. Now, there is a lag of 2 months usually. So for instance, the latest update that was released, that was published this morning, October, covers up to August. So in order for this month to be published, you're gonna have to wait 2 months. But let's say that is not that bad. I mean, that is one of the options. The UN Comtrade also publishes data by year and month. The only thing with that is that it collects data from multiple countries at the same time, so the data availability by country changes a lot. We know what happens with the states, but some other countries, they work a little different.
Yeah, the United States does an amazing job in collecting, and that's one of the very big part of what Bureau of the Statistics and the Census Bureau and other government agencies really work to satisfy the need for all that data for U.S. companies. Certainly, we benefit from it, so it's certainly a challenge. So, anything else that you'd like to share with us, with the audience, on any level about analytics?
Sure. So companies that are already into exports, they probably have a good understanding on how their products are coded. Let's say NAICS or harmonized tariff schedule. So, and I'm saying this because every search begins with a code. So if you know that, you're pretty much good to go. If you don't have that information, you need to determine the right code for your products. You can branch, like for instance, if you go to USA Trade Online, it has a series of PDF documents that explain how products are categorized. But also, for instance, if you're here in South Carolina, you can go to our State Department of Commerce. If you're in forestry, you can go to the Forestry Commission, or you can also go to the U.S. Commercial Service. And then they have people here in South Carolina that can help you identify the proper codes for your products. So that's one thing. And that's more on the data side of the data analytics. On the analytics side, as I mentioned, if you already have some experience with spreadsheets, that's a very good start. If you decide to choose an option such as Tableau or Microsoft Power BI, there's a kind of an ocean of information both at the respective websites for free, and also you can use YouTube, for instance. There are so many resources out there that explain how to build your very first dashboard very easily in less than a day. So that is not going to be a problem for anybody.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing today your insight and some of the key sources of information. Sonny, Edgar, thank you again for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And again, everybody, we thank you for joining the South Carolina Trade Talk, made possible by the South Carolina International Trade Coalition and hosted by the Baker School of Business at the Citadel. We hope that you will tune in and look for a future podcast.